Sometimes it is hard for the media to keep two ideas in their head at the same time. We tend to fixate on what is in front of us. But the gun violence and mass shootings we saw a month ago remain a painful subject for the families of those victims. Miami-Dade Mayor Danielle Levine Cava had announced plans to crack down on gun violence with Operation Summer Heat, as well as creating a program giving summer jobs to hundreds of young people who are at risk. I want to find out if those programs are still moving forward. I started by asking Miami-Dade Police Director Freddy Ramirez.
Look, Surfside was a terrible tragedy, not only for our community, but for our nation. You know, so many lives lost, and it was just all hands on deck to not only try to rescue victims, but to bring closure to the families. It was not only just a police response, a fire response, it was an emotional response. And we dealt with it as a family, all of us. Now, you know, the Miami-Dade Police Department is focused on providing service for everyone in this community. All four corners of this county, who are the men and women of this department, continued working. So Operation Summer Heat, our commitment to gun violence, still continued. I'm very proud of the men and women of my department that were out there while we were at the site of this terrible tragedy. They were out there keeping our community safe. Since the inception of the collapse, we had made 311 arrests. We seized 110 firearms. I mean, they were out there working and providing service for the community. One of the beauties of this department is that we're very versatile, and we work together, and we just get it done. And that's the resiliency of this department, the resiliency of this community. I'm not leaving anybody behind, and we haven't forgotten about anybody.
You didn't have to pull like the number of units patrolling either in the South End or in the North District. You didn't have to cut them down by a few units here or there. You didn't have to take detectives who were working active cases in the homicide division and move them to Surfside. It would seem that you would naturally have to do that. I mean, those detectives that are working Surfside had their own cases prior to this. Wasn't there some impact there?
Yes, on the homicide part, absolutely. You know, they have cases they're working, but this one is one that had over 90 victims. You know, it's unprecedented amount of victims, and those 90 victims have family members that wanted answers and closure. And we had to focus, but I still had detectives in the Bureau that were responding to murders or any other calls that would come out. We had a rotation, like our crime scene, for instance. We were doing an amazing job out there. Miami Beach assisted, some of the other municipalities offered assistance so we could keep them fresh and still handle some of our responsibilities in the community. But it would be disingenuous for me to say that my officers are fresh. They're tired. They've been serving this community through the whole COVID pandemic. They were the ones that are out there in the streets. Through the gun violence challenges, and now here we are with the Surfside tragedy. This is a very special community, and I intend on preserving that.
And the youth job program called Fit to Lead is also underway, as Morris Copeland, the mayor's chief community services officer, explained.
And so we wanted to make sure that we're providing opportunities for young people through mentorship, through job opportunities, along with making sure that their mental health was taken care of. So it was a holistic approach in order to address some of the systemic issues that our young people find themselves in. And so it's more like it's a mentorship that's providing them with opportunities for jobs. And also it's giving them an apprenticeship, so they will get certifications. They will be involved in certain skills and certain trades that will give them the opportunity to advance themselves if they choose to go to college or if they choose to choose a trade. We want to give them an opportunity to open them up to something different.
But the program, the version of the program that was launched just in the last 2 weeks is more of an expanded version, opens it up, as I understand it, to more young people, more at-risk young people in many ways. So talk to me about that. What is different? Because it's not just, you're not just continuing a program from the past. This is a new version of the program. What's different about this version?
Well, I like to talk about it in terms of its goal, right? Because I don't want to stigmatize the children that go into the program. And I try to be very clear about that, because sometimes when you create programs for say, a certain group of children, and I'll put that in quotes, that it becomes something other than what the original program is designed to do. This program is designed to be more inclusive. I'll leave it at that. It's to be more inclusive, not to weed out children that normally would not get an opportunity to participate in a program like this because of some minor indiscretion or run-in with the law that they've had in the past.
Morris, I appreciate your wanting to step gingerly around this, but just so that my viewers understand, I'll say it, and you tell me if I'm wrong in how I describe this. The previous iterations of this program for 15 to 18-year-olds, essentially, if in order to qualify, or more than likely, those who were in the program previously had never had any run-in with the law, hadn't been arrested necessarily. Now it's open to those who have had interactions with the law, but not of a serious nature, not of a violent offense. So in other words, you may not want to use the words at risk, but kids who have started to go down a path that potentially could lead them into more and more trouble, you're now trying to get to them before they continue down that path and provide them the job, the internship, and then the wraparound services that you discuss to keep them, sort of reorient them back on a better path. Is that a fair statement?
Correct. And I just want to reemphasize, I believe in bad behavior, not bad children. So these children may have had one or two indiscretions, which we all have. Most of us as children have done things that were not necessarily right, but we did not pay the price for it because we just were not caught doing it. And so we look at it in those terms, and in terms of, you're correct. We want to be more inclusive. And this is one of the things the mayor said when she came in office. She wants to be more inclusive, more diverse, and give people opportunities to prove that there's a way for all of us to succeed if given the proper motivation, given the proper support, and given the proper tools to do so.
And roughly how many kids are we discussing? Again, and the age is 15 to 18, correct?
Yeah, it's 15 to 19.
15 to 19. So about how many kids are we looking to help in a given year, either through internships or summer jobs? Break it down for me.
It's about 350. 350. And that's just for Fit to Lead. And then there's 500 in the summer youth internship program that we provided funding to the school system in order to hire those children too. And that's in addition to the dollars that we've already allocated. So we are really trying to create, Jim, the opportunity as our future goal for all children in Miami-Dade County during the summer months to have employment.
What is the pay typically for a kid coming through a program like this? I'm assuming they're not making $45,000 or $50,000 a year. It's probably what are we talking about?
Well, it was $9 before. Historically, it's been $9 and I think 30-something cents. But we wanted to make sure that this time it was going to be raised substantially. So now we're paying $13 and I think 45 cents an hour, and that's pretty good. And if you think about it, if you had a family that's living in the mother isn't working, or it's a single family home, and you have 3 or 4 children, and all of them now, three of that 4 are part of this program, they're bringing money into that household. And therefore, there's no need to look outside and to get involved in drug activity and all these other things that a lot of times our young people are, just economics. They're trying to make a dollar. They're trying to support their mother, their siblings. And so these things we want to just take, it's not a cure-all.
And then the hope would be, I would imagine, that if you're 17, 18, 19, and you've come through now a year with an employer, that employer, you may be able to prove yourself to them, and maybe there's an opening for a job that you could get more permanent outside of this program.
Jim, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly what the purpose is, to give people a look at this individual, to give them an opportunity, the same opportunity I had as a young man when somebody looked at me and said, well, you know what, this guy, he may be from that community, but I like his work ethic. Let me give him a shot. So I can relate to that. I'm a product of that opportunity. And so when I see this to me, it just makes sense. And for those that really want to do something great and they just don't have the opportunity, this is giving them an opportunity.
And you've seen this program at work in other places. I think we had talked previously about there was something similar to this in Detroit, and you believe that the success rate for programs like this, there's a proven track record for this, but of course, you'll analyze it yourself as you go along. Is this, in fact, working?
Yes, we have an evaluation piece to it, as a matter of fact, and I'm not sure if you haven't seen the governor of New York talk about a similar program that they're launching to combat violence in their community. And I think he's put like $180 million toward it. So it's something that it's not new, it's not rocket science, but it's just having the will and the ability to be able to open yourself up and give people an opportunity that have not had the opportunity before.